Hello again. Uh, Here's another video. I'm gonna do. I don't want you to think like why I'm always lying down. I I'm gonna do some videos where I'm out and about and at work and doing other things and talking and everything else. But do you ever wonder about uh, uh, science and the universe as well as religion and science? Because I'm uh, basically somebody who I spent I've spent a lot of time studying science, and I've also spent time studying religion and things like religions that people don't, generally speaking, know about off the bat. Like obviously, people know a little bit about Christianity and um, Christianity and Islam and Judaism, but I've also had a look into religions like Wicca, which is an old pagan religion, um, and also Buddhism. I I've been to Buddhist temples and Buddhist cafes, Buddhist centers, and meditated and learn a little bit about that. Taoism, even recently I was looking into old religions that were around um, before the religions that we think about today, like religions that worshipped many different gods and had different statues and figures of different gods for different things, and like gods of war and gods of love and different things like that. That eventually, obviously, many people converted to worship a single god, but um, it's interesting when you look at it like that because you can see how people worshipped God or gods religiously um, from ancient day, even going back as far as like cavemen. When I mean, without studying it, thinking about cavemen and who they worshipped and how they felt about looking up at the stars and higher powers, spirituality, and um, things like that, and then how that transformed into what we do today, which is generally speaking either go to a church, a mosque, or a temple of some sort and worship God. Most people today worship a single God, either Jesus God, Allah, or the Jewish in the Jewish tradition. I don't really know anything about the Jewish tradition. I know they worship God, but um, I believe that more people are Muslim than any other religion, or at least and follow an Abrahamic religion. But then if you have an interest in science like I do, um, I mean I started thinking about and studying science about 10 years ago, I think. But I haven't been studying science as a straight block for 10 years. So during that time, I've um, slowed down on learning science and started thinking more about religion and witchcraft, historical, ancient traditions like witchcraft and druidry and black magic and Buddhism, even just different areas of different religions to get a feel for it. Because I think that's it's when it's when it's the most interesting to me. Is that's an interesting way to learn, because then I can sit down in a library or a study and read through how things used to happen and how things compare to how they are now with regards to people worshipping. Most people don't believe or know that much about magic or witchcraft. For example, they don't know that um, the word Wicca, which is spelled Wicca, um, is uses magic, but it's actually a religion, a pagan religion where people worship or pay a lot of attention to the cycles of the seasons and use spells and are in covens and things like that. And there's magic involved. It's an ancient practice, but it's not something that's in the mainstream in the same way that Christianity is, or Judaism is, or Islam is. So I think for me personally, that's why I've over the years had the opportunity to talk to people about um, those things, because um, I spent time looking into different religions, even though I some of those religions weren't ones that I wanted to practice. For example, I'm not Jewish, but it's interesting to learn about um, that religion as well as the other ones, because of where they came from. I believe, in a basic sense, the story goes that Abraham, all those years ago, I think he was a sculptor, and he was sculpting statues of all the different gods that people worshipped for love and war and all the different gods and stuff. And so, at some point, Abraham decided that he wanted people to worship just one single god rather than many different gods for some reason. So he decided that, and that's how Christianity, Islam, and Judaism were born. The idea that we should worship one God rather than multiple different gods. Um, and then that idea branched into, like I say, those three main massive religions that are now today the main religions we follow on Earth. But people, it's a subject that comes up quite a lot, like why people follow just one god rather than the way that they used to do things, where they follow different gods. But obviously, people do that. There is other religions, hundreds of. I mean, you have like Taoism and Scientology, and there's a lot of different religions. Some of them are growing quite fast, but it's an interesting concept. I mean, I personally, I was born a Muslim, so I was born into Islam, but I was also, because I'm mixed race. I was also at some point I was converted to Catholic, so I have those two kind of religions influencing me. But at the moment, I'm going back to Islam, because to me, Islam is just a beautiful, beautiful religion, and it feels more like home when I think about the Quran or Allah or saying a prayer or something like that, it feels like the right thing for me, and it feels like the best option. Um, but that doesn't mean that I don't think about other religious practices, um, and other traditions and ancient, because it's so interesting, isn't it? It's still very interesting.